first glance, this small campus looks like a typical boarding school in Kenya. There are kids in uniform attending assembly, class, and eating in the dining commons. There are kids living in dormitories, doing their laundry and chores, and playing outdoors. But the Kajiado Adventist School and Rescue Center is no ordinary campus. Kajiado is home to 150 girls who have endured or escaped female genital mutilation, or FGM. This is an illegal ritual done to girls as young as 6 years old in preparation for their arranged marriage at the age of 9. Kajiado was established nearly 20 years ago as a ministry of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It is a haven for Maasai girls who have run away from their families in search of safety and education. Sarah Daniel is the school director. She has been working at Kajiado for the past 10 years, and she has personally helped to rescue many girls from abusive situations and watched them grow into strong, healthy, educated women of faith.
More than 2,000 girls have been assisted through this center, and we thank God for their beautiful future. We have 20 who are in colleges and universities, and one of them graduated last year, and we are happy for that. When I walk around and I look at within the community, I have teachers, I have people who are working in the offices, and they are testimony of this because they went through this, and now they are living as a better life after being assisted. So we are really happy for that, and we are not ready to stop this until we see that every girl will be safe and every girl will be given an opportunity.
It is a worthy goal, yet at Kajiado, the momentum is being thwarted by a simple problem: space.
Because of the growing number, the dormitory that we have is only supposed to handle a capacity of not more than 80 girls. But currently, as we speak, the population in our dormitory is 150 girls.
Girls have to sleep 2 or 3 to a mattress. Sometimes they push 2 bunks together to create a larger space, but not necessarily more comfort. The cramped quarters means that Sarah is unable to accept more girls in need of help. Beyond the sleeping situation, the school is in need of upgrades. These are the only toilets available for the 150 girls at Kajiado. As for showers, most of the students bathe outside using buckets of water and darkness for privacy. In addition to the girls, there are about 24 boys who board at the school. The co-ed atmosphere helps the girls to develop a healthy relationship with males. The boys stay in the old school library, which means that books had to be shoved into a small nook. The dedicated staff also need better housing.
It's so small in terms of space, and it cannot accommodate more than one person, and even I, who is sleeping there, it is not spacious for me. So we need a spacious room for us to live in comfortably.
And finally, the school needs a new well. The current well is not producing enough, and the school is having to spend precious resources on buying water. Since learning of Kajiado's needs, Maranatha has agreed to help with a number of projects on campus, including the construction of new dormitories, bathrooms and showers, administrative offices, and the drilling of a new well. The work is being completed in part by volunteers. 2 previous groups completed 1 dormitory and bathroom block. And in March, Maranatha organized a mission trip to Kajiado for a team to build a second girls' dormitory. The opportunity drew a small but motivated group of 26 volunteers, each with a different reason for joining the project. Christy Richardson was in the category of first-time volunteers. It was a strange label to have considering her background. Her parents, Cal and Sue Kruger, have been part of the organization for more than 40 years as board members, donors, and volunteers.
I was an educator, I was a teacher, And because I was on an academic calendar and I was given, these are the times when you have vacation, it never quite lined up. I mean, I would have loved to.
It would take Christie's retirement from teaching to open the door to volunteering with Maranatha. The Kruger family organized a mission trip to work at the Gucha school in Kenya. Sadly, neither Christie or Sue ever made it to Kenya. Christie's husband had a major health issue, forcing her to cancel her trip. And her mother, Sue, had cancer, which kept her from the project. Sue passed away shortly after. Less than a year later, Christie heard about the Kajiado mission trip.
I still had tickets from the project I was unable to go on. And when my mother passed away, as a memorial, we specified this project. So I thought that would be really good to come to honor her memory.
While Christie's reasons for going were specifically rooted in personal history, Eddie and Dwana Falconer were drawn by a more vague calling to the mission field.
Well, my wife and I, we have one thing in common, and that is travel. Several things in common, but travel is one of those things that we have in common. And so we took a trip last year as part of our vacation, and we traveled to Europe. But it was mostly leisure. We felt somewhat guilty when we got back, even though we enjoyed it, but something was missing.
The last time we went away, we just felt like it was great, but something was missing, and we felt that that was because it was just all about us. We needed to do something where we combined service and travel. And we thought of Maranatha. This is my first mission trip and my first time laboring with brick and mortar. I chose the Kenya mission trip because the rescue center and the Kajiado school just really struck me in a really deep and personal place, and I just want to serve and do whatever was needed for the young ladies that go to the school.
But while Dwana was certain of her choice, Eddie was apprehensive. As a self-employed businessman, Eddie was worried.
There's always that fear of finance coming to the question, where you figure, okay, 3 weeks off a job, I'm self-employed, how much money am I going to lose? And then you realize, well, God can take care of us. And that's where we made a decision, and she began to make the plans, and everything just kind of fell in place from there.
Christie, Dwana, and Eddie were joined by 23 other volunteers with a diversity of backgrounds. Volunteers who grew up in the mission field and consider it home. Volunteers who have found purpose in service and now make Maranatha a regular part of their lives. Volunteers who came seeking a new experience, adventure, and purpose in their lives. Regardless of their background in missions, no one could anticipate the highly emotional experience of serving such a special group of students at such a special place. On the first day of the Maranatha Kenya project in Kajiado, the campus was buzzing in preparation for the volunteers' arrival, as welcomes are a big deal in Kenya.
The first morning we arrived on our buses, the students were lined up. The gates opened, and here's hundreds of girls and a few boys in their matching outfits, and they were marching in time up to make 2 lines to welcome us in.
Their hearts just filled with joy and singing and so happy to see us.
Una emoción muy bonita porque me sentí en ese momento que yo no era digna de que nos recibieran como nos recibieron, y cuando íbamos entrando pues que me agarraron la mano las niñas. Fue algo muy bonito, estaba a punto de llorar, de hecho ahorita también, porque una emoción muy bonita, y como le digo, sí me sentía indigna del recibimiento que nos dieron.
When we first got here that first day, and I saw all of those children lined up, and they seemed so excited, I thought we're in for a real treat at this place.
I wanted to cry, but there was so much mixed emotion when I saw the kids singing, and I saw everybody just kind of lined up. I felt very small because this was way bigger than I am, so I was just grateful when I got here. All the emotions were there.
And that was just the first few minutes. Little did Eddie know it was only the beginning of what would be a transformational week in many ways. First, there was the work. While many of the volunteers were veterans at laying block, for others, the construction site was a brand new experience.
So I'm laying brick. It's actually my first time doing this. Not going very well so far. Having a hard time getting the hang of it. But I'll get it.
And so the trick is to get just the right amount of mortar without it all falling off the sides, like that. So if we just lay very still,
They won't see us.
very quietly.
For those who would prefer work other than masonry, there were plenty of other tasks, like teaching a health class.
We like you. You're such a nice one. Now look at you. You got germs all over you.
Painting, organizing, cleaning, even shopping. Renee Harry is a first-time volunteer from New York. On the days she wasn't on the construction site, she helped with one of the outreach activities on campus.
Maranatha, and I think just on the strength of people wanting to help. Everyone sort of collected items and clothing, shoes, anything they think that would be beneficial to the girls and the boys here. They collected all those items before they came, and we sort of set up a little shopping area for them where the girls could come in and choose items that they liked, and then, you know, they would be able to walk away with an item.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing for us these gifts and come back again. May God bless you.
The clothing outreach was just one of the ways the volunteers got to interact with the girls and hear their stories. Over the week, what they found were young women seeking mentorship and friendship. Once the girls leave home and the tradition of childhood marriage, they are rejected by their parents. Often, they can never go back to their villages. So what the girls want, what they crave, is genuine connection. Jane Sines is a longtime volunteer who recently returned to Maranatha mission trips after a bit of a break. In the last couple projects, she'd been a little worried about how she'd fit into the bigger picture as an older participant. But with each experience, she's found a way to belong and fulfill a need that she would have never imagined.
When I first started interacting with the girls here, they were really kind of hesitant, but the more I put my arms around them and just hugged them and just stood by them and held their hands, they just seemed to start glowing, and just more and more. And now when I would come more recently to the campus, they would just come running and wanting to hug me, and you know, and they started calling me Grandma, 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 come here, Grandma, Grandma. And it was just a thrill.
On the first Saturday night, the school organized a social for everyone. The event immediately broke down any walls that existed between the girls and the volunteers.
We, celebrated the end of Sabbath, sang some songs, and then we got into the activity songs, action songs, and they were singing a song in which they came and got us again out and were teaching us to do their Maasai thing. I can't do it too well yet. And so they had a fabulous time. We had a fabulous time. And that's why things like Saturday night, to model the behavior and to show them that we in Christian love can have a really great time and laugh and sing and jump around, was really a wonderful thing to do.
When I got here, I was not quite sure what the real story was, but after about the second day, especially the night when they had that get-together, I had a chance to really speak with some of the girls one-on-one, and they were sharing a little bit of their experience. But one of the most profound things that happened to me and my wife, two girls were just walking past, hand in hand, and I waved to them, and they smiled back at me. When they smiled, the other one tugged in the other one's shirt and said, "Come on, let's go over there." And they came over, and we wanted to take pictures of them. Within about 15 minutes, they were calling us Mom and Dad. And that took my heart. I really did, because here is, they've never seen me before. And I don't know what all the experiences in their young life that they have been through, but they were so ready to identify with us as part of their own family and to accommodate us and calling us Mom and Dad. It really melted my heart. It really did.
Maranatha is committed to helping the Kajiado Adventist School and Rescue Center by providing new dormitories, staff housing, and more. But a crucial element of campus success is dependent on water. New bathrooms, showers, and thriving gardens require a strong water source, something that the campus currently does not have. The existing well is failing, and the school has had to purchase water for basic needs. Unfortunately, hydrogeology reports reveal that the chances of finding a good water source on campus is dismal.
The decision was made to drill a well over by the church, where they're based on geographic studies. It was determined to be the best location, even though there was an awful lot of reason to be skeptical. It was determined that if there was going to be water on this property, that's the location where we would find it.
The day actually of the drilling, all of the children came out, as well as the volunteers and all staff came out to the drilling site, and we had sort of a worship experience and a lot of prayer before we actually kind of started everything up.
The crew anticipated they would be drilling for days, as any water would be deep in the ground, if there was water at all. But the next day, the entire campus was met with a miracle.
Just around 11 a.m., they came, the operator, Gerald, came running over to where we were working. You could tell he was beside himself. He couldn't believe it. He was just like, "I can't believe it. I just had to come tell you people, we got water."
When I first heard that there was water and we were all running to the well, my heart was just beating and my whole soul was just rejoicing that we had water at this school. They needed it so badly.
And it was just an overwhelming experience to know that God hears you, hears these kids, and knows what their needs are, and has just provided it so abundantly.
I have never seen this done. I've read about this, but to be an eyewitness, to see this happening before your eyes, to be able to experience the emotions and to experience a miracle, it took my breath away. This was profound. It was amazing.
The miracle of water felt like the pinnacle of the mission trip. Yet just a couple days later, the volunteers had another climactic event, the dormitory. After 6 days of construction with a relatively small team of volunteers, the Kajiado Adventist School and Rescue Center celebrated the opening of a new dormitory.
Probably the highlight is the girls coming to get us out of our chairs and bring us up to the dorm and going in with us. When we walked into the dorm, I had 2 girls with me and they said, "This is my bunk, this is my bunk." That was kind of special.
Oh, they were so excited that they were going to have a bed of their own.
I had to jump up and down with my girls during the dedication of our second dormitory. Having in mind now that all my girls will be occupied in the new dormitory, they will have the new beddings, the new mattresses, the duvets, and some of them were telling me, in my life I've never covered myself with this. I'm just used to a blanket.
The heart was so filled, and I just thought, wow, I wish I could be here the first night that they are able to lay in the beds and just be here and still have like a girls' slumber party in the dorms, because it's so amazing. It's so amazing.
When the dorm was finished, the objective of the mission trip was completed too. New building, new dorm, new beds. The physical goals had been met. As for the spiritual goals, the transformational experience of the volunteers, the blessings were as ample as the water that rushed from the new well. For Jane, her time at Kajiado has been surprising, given her long history in the mission field. For years, she and her husband were long and short-term missionaries that served in 40 different countries. After her husband died, Jane never thought she'd return to the field. But now she's been on 2 Maranatha mission trips, and she says they have changed her life.
I don't know if it's because I know the story of why this school was started and how it's saving these young girls' lives and just giving them life. But this has been absolutely the most incredible mission experience of my entire 80-plus years.
Christy's first mission trip has been a wonderful way to connect with a cause that was close to her mother's heart and understand why her parents not only supported Maranatha financially, but also served on mission trips.
What we get back from giving on the ground is huge. And then I think that enables us then as people to go back into our community and share with them the needs and what goes on here. This is a form of worship. It's not enough to just, I can write a check anytime. That would be fine and that would help other people. But for me to come and really give and experience that is that true Christian in action.
Duana and Eddie came in search of vacations with a purpose, a way to see and serve the world. What they found was transformative. It was a transformation that started on the very first day. Eddie recalls the first night.
And my wife kind of heard me sobbing that night, which is, it just got me. It got me right here, really did. And to see what Maranatha is doing, it changed my perspective as a Christian. It really did. But I remember something very profound, and as I'm contemplating it, Jesus had said at one point, "Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven." So now I'm understanding that to mean what we can do now for His kingdom is far more important than just watching for Him to come.
Thank you, Maranatha, for the new dove. You have done a good work to us. May God bless you abundantly. Oh!